Our next guest, our final guest, income specialist and also tax specialist, Joann Regan knows a thing or two about saving taxes if you're retired or approaching retirement. She is president of Financial Security Group, a retirement income store located in Glendale, Arizona. She has been helping clients with tax, estate, and retirement planning, that trifecta we talked about earlier in the show, for over 20 years. Joann, thanks so much for being back here with us on the Income Generation.
Well, thank you. Great to be here. Great to be able to help with anything I can give our clients and give them some knowledge that they can use.
Great to see you. Welcome back on the show. You know, lots of discussions about taxes going up next year and how it's only going to affect the rich. But the one thing I haven't seen is another threshold of taxation on Social Security besides the two that we have for married people, for single people. So will there be another threshold of taxation on Social Security? Do you see that in the future?
I do. I feel like when they have to pay down some of this debt that we've incurred, they're going to be looking at all options and all alternatives to try to get that paid down. And I do think that Social Security will end up being part of that, as well as a lot of other things that, you know, currently may not be taxed, like the stepped up basis and so forth. I think we're going to see a lot of changes in the future.
So I guess you would probably surmise then, if we don't want the tax code to change, then you, without sounding political, you have to vote in a particular fashion, correct? To avoid taxes going forward is probably the best strategy.
I think that's correct. I think that no matter what type of administration we have, you know, a lot of them run on a tax platform. And again, without being political, we do have to vote according to what platform we believe is going to be more beneficial to ourselves.
All right. I'm just going to say it. I'm taking the gloves off. We got to vote Republican. That's the best tax saving strategy we have going forward. I'm sorry, Dave, but I had to say it.
Brave soul, brave soul.
That's great. Well, you know, of course, yeah, it's, you know, they tend to be more tax friendly, but unfortunately, we've gotten ourselves in a situation now where we have to pay the debt somehow and all these extra things we're spending money on. And it'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds. But Joann, I want to focus on how our clients, your clients, people who are retired within 10 years of retirement, how they could be affected by the laws that President Biden is trying to push through. What do you think are the components of it that are the most dangerous to our clientele?
Well, obviously, the elimination of stepped up basis is going to be the biggest one. If that does come to fruition, I feel like that is really going to impact everyone, but particularly our clients that are, you know, going into retirement, and how are they going to prepare for that? How are they going to get rid of some of those assets that are, you know, potentially going to cost their heirs a whole lot of money? So I would say that one is going to be the big one.
Yeah, once you get rid of stepped up in basis, then the government just has to increase the capital gains rate again, and all of a sudden they've essentially written themselves a check, if you will. So what are one or two good tax saving strategies that you like to recommend oftentimes to your clients that you find that they just seem to miss or overlook?
Well, I think that a lot of times I see people taking money out of their accounts that they're not using. And by that, I mean their qualified accounts, and they're not using it. And the reason why they're taking it out is because they think that if they can get it into another account, that, and they've already paid the taxes on it because they think taxes are going to go up in the future, that that's going to be beneficial to them. And that doesn't always work. That isn't always a good strategy, because what they put the money into doesn't necessarily pay them any income at all. So I try to recommend to them, if they're not going to use the money and they want to take money out, maybe using what's called a qualified charitable distribution, or a QCD, where they can take the money directly out of their qualified account, send it to a charity, get a big tax deduction for it, and not have to pay tax on that money. That's a strategy that they use a lot in my practice, and I feel like it's very beneficial to them if they're taking out too much and they're not using it.
Yeah, you're right. If you're going to take money out, today's brackets, I feel like if you're in the 12% marginal tax bracket, okay, go ahead and take some money out of your IRA if you don't need it, because it's a low bracket. But if you're higher than that, it usually doesn't make sense. People forget that paying $1 of tax years later is always better than paying today, because they get to keep that dollar invested. So Joann, thanks so much again for being back with us here on the Income Generation.
Well, and thanks for having me. I really appreciate you.